Hello. I'm a little froggy, so you'll have to bear with me. I want to say thank you to the Dayton Poetry Slam. It's the last one of the year. And like Stephen says, this is kind of his Sunday service. This has become my church, and it has become my therapy. I don't really want to read this, but I do want to read it because my therapist told me that I need to face every single one of the horrible things that happened this year. And this is the last one. So, this is called Dear John, Part 1. I don't exactly know where to begin, but I suppose I could tell you about the very first time we ever met when I was 16. My boyfriend Ogre had ordered pizza, and while we waited for its arrival, he coaxed me to his bedroom and became the first guy ever to go down on me. It was odd, uncomfortable, exhilarating, and terrifying. Not entirely satisfying without being unholy satisfying. Ogre, pizza's here. And Ogre came up for air, hollering, I'm not hungry anymore, I just ate, John. Who was John, and why was he in the house? I was mortified. We righted ourselves, walked down the hallway, and there on the couch was an older guy, maybe mid-20s, long hair, camo shorts, untied high tops, and a Pink Floyd t-shirt, cramming an entire slice of pizza into his mouth in one bite. My face literally turned almost entirely crimson from embarrassment. This is John, said Ogre, my best friend. I half-heartedly waved my right pinky finger in his direction and averted my eyes entirely. Or I could begin with the day that I first told someone everything that had happened to me. John was working the night shift at the Speedway on the other side of town, where I did most of my growing up. Too much growing up for a kid, to be honest. He could tell something was very wrong, because I wasn't my usual vibrant, mile-a-minute gibbering self. I was quiet, eyes glazed, lips pursed together in a thin line, trying not to cry. All I wanted was a pack of smokes, or at least that's what I was telling myself. But somehow he knew. He convinced me to sit on an old overturned milk crate behind the counter near the sink, saying, You don't have to tell me anything. You can just sit here, and I'll sit here with you. And I could feel myself vibrating inside and actually wondered how I was able to sit so still and not be visibly shaking. I was at work, I began, and then clamped my lips shut, pulled at the sleeves of my blouse, pigeon-toed my feet together, drew my legs into my chest as I leaned down to grab my shins, and I exploded in sobs, heaving against my knees, choking on the bile that had risen in my throat. And I launched myself up and towards the sink next to me, retching out the burning poison in my mouth, tears dropping into the viscous mess I had just made. And he held my hair back and asked me if I was okay. And I said no, and everything came out. Well, almost everything. Or I could tell you about the time that I surprised him by kissing him, not as a friend, just to see if I could feel something. Or I could tell you about the first time that he met my parents, the day I graduated from high school, walking in the front door in his camo shorts, firmly shaking my conservative father's hand and saying, It's nice to meet you, Mr. Taylor. My name is John Parker, and I fully intend to marry your daughter someday. Holy shit, that was a day. Or how he, knowing I was suicidal when I was 17, drove around everywhere he could think of looking for me, and when he couldn't find me, he parked on the edge of town waiting for my car to come into view, and pulled right out in front of me to stop me when he saw my headlights coming. Yes, he paid that amount of attention to know what my headlights looked, as opposed to all of the others in town. Or I could tell you about all the times I broke his heart choosing other men over him, only to watch me be used up, abused, not seen, unloved, disrespected, and uncared for. But instead, I'm going to tell you about this colossus of a man who, regardless of what I was going through, had done to me, no matter how badly I had fucked up, no matter how greatly I had succeeded, always had the same love, concern, respect, and devotion to me. I won't tell you it was all flowers and rainbows, because it wasn't. It was cartons of cigarettes and oceans of tears, years of sleepless nights, in person and on the phone, yelling and screaming, gnashing, snarling, spittle flying, bare bloody knuckle covered in ground glass, tooth and nail fighting the entire time. Him trying to get me to see that I was valuable and me attempting to prove that I wasn't with the skin that I was in. Neither one of us would yield. There would be no one calling uncle in our lifetime except Uncle. My savior and best friend, my soulmate, is dying. The line to my anchor has been snapped. The depth of love that I have for this man may well be fathoms beyond the deepest parts of the ocean. You see, if I'm honest, simply knowing that he exists brings me a depth of comfort that I cannot find the words to describe. This giant of a man is fighting the battle of his life, and there is nothing that I can do to save him. And I sit here and bemoan and cry about the depth of my impending loss. How fucking disgusting am I? He'd tell you I wasn't disgusting at all. He'd tell you that the moment he met me, there was some part of him that broke open and connected to me even when he wanted no connections. He wanted solitude, no entanglements, no drama, no responsibilities, but what he already had been through. And yet by some possibly divine fuckery on the part of the universe, he was given me and I was given him. Don't misunderstand, we didn't entirely mesh. His adoration of heavy metal and video games immediately blocked part of my brain from seeing him for who he really was. And my obsession with Sarah McLachlan at the time, oh my God. Whew. It made him cringe. It really did. Until we both learned why those spoke to us at the time. It wasn't that we all of a sudden changed our tastes in music, we just understood. He didn't make me listen unless he wanted to give me an example or explain some feeling to me. So I learned to do the same. John was a man of few words then, as he remains today. I am a woman of many after having my voice stolen for years. But he'd sit silently for hours listening to tirades from me, stopping only to clarify that he had heard and understood what I had said correctly. But now, my John is dead. And I am left wondering, floundering and flailing between whether it is harder to know that you're going to lose someone or harder to watch yourself lose them and then finally lose them. Because both have deadened parts of me that I'm not sure I can get back. Thank you.